Oh, it was the Boone County parking lot. That's what it was. We're getting ready for, we're headed in for dinner one night. I'm through there so much. I went in with friends probably 6, 8 weeks ago. On Friday, we were meeting after work, sat down in the bar. This dinner crew came in, they were getting set up, and one of the guys looks over, "You're the guy with the dog." I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." He said, "I want to meet your dog." Oh, yeah. I mean, I walk around that block 2 to 3 times a day. 5 to 7 days a week, so.
And here's the thing, worst case scenario, worst case, not best, to cover my sleeper day or two. No James. So. Exactly.
I hope it was her almost hitting the school. I really do.
Thank you, and I keep
Actually,
wondering.
hadn't been close by a car in a while until last
Can I
week.
borrow your pen when it comes?
Yeah,
Blue or red?
I can
Or
clip, not the
Okay.
case. No, no, no. And I was, I did a, yes,
He's our
just to let them know that I was actually there.
He's our long-term
I wasn't riding a bike, I was out for a run.
schedule.
And it was early in the morning, and both of us were at fault. It was crossing a street.
Nice to meet
The
you.
green light going my direction was on, but
They're really good people.
Oh, do you?
the
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned
crosswalk
it.
thing wasn't. I won't go through
They
it.
have lunches in Berea County, and then my dentist is a lit from Corbin.
Nice.
I know where that is.
ITT.
Yeah, ITT.
Mine's a double. So it makes a big difference.
Well, I'm not gonna be prejudicial. I'm gonna give you a chance.
Call to order, everybody. We could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, everybody. And we will start tonight with school board recognition. I'll hand it over to Ryan.
Thank you. As each of the board members have indicated, is they don't want a lengthy presentation to show our appreciation for them. Instead, we have taken the approach of doing a social media campaign to highlight some of their experiences that they bring to the district. Obviously, as a superintendent, my relationship with them is much closer than most. They are my boss, they are my evaluators, and I truly appreciate the working relationship that we have. I do think that the Berea community should consider themselves lucky for having such an awesome board as what we do have, always putting kids first and always making decisions that are in the best interest of our school community at large. So we're very appreciative of them, and we will move forward with our next items on the agenda. But pay attention to our social media for all of those spotlights on each of the board members. You want me to go directly into the superintendent's report?
Let's go ahead. I think we need to do the nominating.
You got it.
We'll take care of that real quick. Sorry, got to stop tonight. We need a nomination for chairperson of the board for the 2026 term.
I nominate Jay.
Darn.
I second Jay.
I will accept the nomination. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? We also need a nomination for the vice chairperson.
I nominate Ali.
I will second. All those in favor? Aye. All right. 2 down. Superintendent's report, sir. All for you.
Superintendent's report is very brief this month just because of the break in the school session from the winter break. That was an awesome opportunity for us to participate in some professional learning and get some things done at the board office from a reporting standpoint, especially as you'll see in the financial reports for working on our draft budget and starting to put together some financial pieces for our SPDM allocations that we'll get into a little bit later on in the school year. So from that standpoint, I do just want to follow up on a couple of the things that we talked about at the last board meeting. First of which is Dr. Burnside had requested an update on kindergarten. We had reached out to the EDS department at Berea College to figure out if there was a stronger partnership that we could have with them, and we have started the process of introducing some super senior teachers into the building to help with some groupings to be able to reduce the burden that is on the kindergarten class sizes. And Mr. Pointer has done a great job of continuing some of the things in behavior management type areas with our kindergarten teachers as well. We've received good feedback so far. The beginning of the year has gone really well. We currently are in a big influx of illness in the district, so we did have to call an NCI day tomorrow to allow our custodial crew to come in and do a deep clean and sanitization and disinfectant of the building. Unfortunately using an NCI day number 4, but I feel like January 15th is a good time to only be at that 4th spot. I also do have a guest here this evening. We do have our new school resource officer. This is Ricky Sellers. If the board would want to say hello, and we're very excited to have him here. He's hit the ground running. He's done an awesome job. From my spot in the board office, looking out the window and seeing him walking around the parking lot and checking vehicles and checking to see who's on campus and whether or not they should be, has been a great surprise to see at the beginning. Taking it upon himself to stay after school and coming before school to meet kids and talk with families has been exactly what the community had expressed that they wanted in an SRO, and so we're happy to continue to build on that relationship and the great momentum that was established by our prior SRO. So we are very appreciative of that. And that is the essence of my superintendent's report.
All right. Thank you very much. I think we can move on to the financial report this evening.
All right. So, December is sort of a short month in school world because we're out of school for a lot of it. So this will be a brief report. While we were very busy, we weren't busy spending money. So there's not a whole lot in this. That's a good thing. So we started December with $1,754,968.10. We spent, and I'm going to focus mostly on general fund here. There wasn't a whole lot going on in our other funds. And I know that's where we really need to keep our focus, I feel like. So revenue, $852,039.79. And then if you break down where our revenue came from, I did want to highlight that so motor vehicle tax, utility tax, these are all things that we get pretty steady every month, but we did still have, we had a large property tax check, relatively $287,000. I've been told there's another one in the mail for around $250 right now. So property tax is rolling in, and it's actually looking like it's going to come in over what we budgeted. At least at the moment, that's $100,000 more that we have coming in than we did last January. So it's all very good news. So total revenue year to date, a little over $4.8 million, and $852,000 of that was last month in December. If we look at our expenditures, $663,000. So anytime that number is lower than our revenue for general fund, that's certainly, that's the goal. We want to spend less than we bring in. It's the most basic common sense budgeting. In some months that's not possible because of the cash flow items we've talked about, but this was a good month. If we look at the breakdown of expenditures, it is very heavily for December. Salary and benefits, that number stays pretty steady. But then outside of that, just other everyday bills, things like that, $70,349.50. So that's a pretty low month, and a lot of it does have to do with school being out for those couple of weeks. If we look at food service, it was another really even month. That's what we like to see, bringing in about, just sustaining. That's the goal for food service. But I was curious, and I had been asked, so I did run December numbers on meals taken versus our daily attendance. So I found that 63% on average of students in attendance took school lunch in December. So I would like to see that go up a little bit, but I think that's pretty solid. I know I've got, I'm contributing to that. I got 2 that pack their lunches, one every day and one, so I get it. Their expenses are just the normal things, Little Caesars, Gordon Food Service, all just a very normal month for food service. So if you look at December versus last year, general fund spent $207,000 less than the same time last year, so that's 23.8%, a 23.8% decrease in spending. Revenue was also down slightly, $3,000. Nothing, just kind of the fluctuation, normal fluctuation of things, nothing really significant there. And I wanted to show an update on where the general fund balance has went throughout the year and where we're kind of headed as we go towards the end. So I know this is an interesting shape line, and a lot of this is property taxes right here. I know we just talked about that for the November meeting. So this is typically how our fund balance goes throughout the year. But the problem that we've had, of course, having a deficit, this right here is 0. So we started the year, deep in the hole, large deficit. The goal is to, you don't even want to start at 0. You want to start up here somewhere, ideally way up here. But we're realistic goal setting. We would very much like to at least start here. With whatever last year's contingency amount was, we would really like to at least carry forward that at minimum, because that's a requirement. So we have seen significant improvement. Right now, we're in the positive. Because tax revenue will slow down, so we're right here in December. So everything after this is projected. And the good news too is November and December, I had these projected and they were a little bit lower. So as I've plugged in the actuals, the whole graph has continued to improve. So still being a little pessimistic about, January forward as far as ending balances. But right now where this is tracking, the trend is that we will have really resolved around 70% of the deficit by the end of the year. So I do expect that we're going to end in deficit again. It is a lot to do in 1 year, but a significantly smaller deficit. And then if you think about really the same shape graph for next year, but starting right about here, that would really mean that we are on track for next year. Start with the deficit, we'll raise through the summer, we'll start to drop a little bit as school starts until tax revenue comes in. And then the indications from everything that I'm seeing right now, once we get our tax revenue and we go above 0, we can get rid of this part of the graph. So that would be great news. That's been the goal, for the last year that I've been involved in this part. So that's, I am pleased to share that. That's really good news. And honestly, I think better than what was expected of us, even when we were working through this. I think everybody kind of knew, there's no way you can do this in 1 year, but I think we're on track to make significant progress and more than was expected of us. So I think that's great news.
Indeed.
So the last thing I will mention is the draft budget, because it's on the agenda. Now the draft budget, it is a legal requirement that the board review it by January 31st. it's not really an actionable item. It doesn't have to be approved or denied. It's kind of the proof that, hey, look, we're looking at it. We've got a template for the budget work that's ahead of us. You know, there are some minor changes from last year just to kind of recognize categories where, you know, we're halfway through the year, so we kind of know, like, if we've spent more than half of a budgeted item or of a line item, and it's not something that, like, we know we pay that in August and then it's done. Like, some of those are 100%, but if it's something we spend throughout the entire year and we're over half, we know we might need to plug a little more money in there, we may be undershot. And the opposite, you know, there's some things that we've done really well and just really watching cost and just really reducing. So there's some things that it's like, well, we've spent 30% in this category. I think we could get by with less next year. So at the moment, it's just those types of changes that are reflected in this draft budget. No big significant changes yet. And it's really just to show, you know, that the mechanism on our end, that is now there, and we can make changes to it in real time, and we'll be working using that draft to build our tentative budget for the next several months until we do come present that. And that's really kind of that is a true budget at that point. So that's where we're headed, what we're working towards. I think we're, I feel positive. So, you know, I've stood up here and absolutely not several times. So I'm in a good mood, and I think that's good news right now. That's what I've got at the moment.
Thank you for sharing good news.
I am happy to do it. Hopefully that becomes the theme as we continue.
Just a sort of indirect question. As people probably know, we've been meeting with folks from the state periodically to go over this and for them to assess our progress. I know they've been happy thus far.
Yes.
How soon before we're meeting with them again, and we'll have a chance to talk to them about what they expect in the following year?
You know, we were meeting, I mean, weekly at points, and then it's kind of, it's a lot less frequent right now because I think that's great news too, that they see the progress and they're confident that we're doing the right things. Dr. Neves, do you remember when they're next? It was like way out. They were kind of like, hey.
Yeah, they didn't want to meet with us until after the tentative budget was done, and
Okay.
so we have a kind of a standing meeting in March. We don't even have a definitive date for when that's scheduled.
Yeah, so they've kind of, the alarm bells aren't ringing in Frankfurt for us right now. So I think we've been like our risk, I think we've been like downgraded to maybe like a yellow or something rather than a red. So it's good.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I believe we have an attendance and enrollment report tonight as well.
Yeah, you guys will see in your board drives I put together 2 presentations for you. I didn't want to go through all those tonight, but I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. You had asked me about withdrawal analysis. For this year, I sent out 25 surveys for families on why they left, mostly because of the 65 or so that have left our district, some of them have either come back or they've moved completely out of the county, out of the state. So it ended up being about 25 students who either went to model, homeschool, or Madison County. I got 1 response out of that 25. I'm going to continue to try to follow up with those families, but it's a pretty good example of our exit survey is just not getting a lot of information from that. The big thing right now is we are sitting at 894 students in our district, and our attendance rate is about 92%. I don't want to tell you what today's was, but it was not great. Other than that, if you have questions about the presentations I gave to you, I'm more than happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. The presentation, those were really helpful. I really appreciate the visual too. My understanding is maybe in coming months you'll be able to also share with us ways that we as a district might be able to try to build our outreach and our numbers. I know my colleague Tom McKay always talks about knocking on doors, and my understanding is we can't do that, but is that part of next steps?
Well, I think, like I've said numerous times, the biggest thing is that we continue building up our academic achievement and our athletic program. We also have some new folks who have come into the district with some new ideas to help us build the attendance rate. I did an analysis of the cost for increasing our attendance rate from 92 to 95. If we can do that, we can reclaim about $93,000 in our SEEK money, and that equates out to about 5 kids in the elementary school and the middle school per day. An average of 5 kids added to our attendance rates, and 10 kids in the middle or the high school. So if we can increase our attendance by 20 kids a day until the end of the year, we can get to that 95%. So we're working really hard on doing that, and then over the summer really push to increase enrollment as much as we can, because we're going to take a pretty big hit when the senior class leaves.
Just one question for me. You talked in the report about implementing a mandatory exit interview or standardized form for folks like that. Are we going to step forward to that? Is there anything we need to do to make that possible?
I've got to look at the legality of holding back on records or whatever. Like, what are we allowed to hold back on people who leave? And that's a KRS thing that we've got to make sure we do. If it's possible, then yes, I will do that. I will make calls to every person that requests records and say, I need you to fill this out before I can release those records. Yeah. I've started keeping a pretty detailed spreadsheet of every kid that I see that leaves and every kid that comes back or comes in, just to see if I can figure out why they're leaving or why they're coming back.
All right, appreciate the clarification. Thank you. Oh, sorry, Jackie.
What if we took the carrot approach and as soon as we know or get wind that you may be leaving, ask them, what would it take for you to spend 2 minutes letting us know?
Yeah. The survey that I had given out in previous, or 3 or 4 years ago, was about 10 minutes. Now it's about 2 minutes. So yeah, anything we can do to get information, I'm more than happy to try. The problem is, most of the time, I don't know when a student is leaving until we get a records request from another district. So by that time, it's hard to get a hold of them. So we'll definitely look at multiple ways to, even if I just do a conversation and can put it into my information. That's been my plan and what I've been doing here in the last couple months or so.
We'll keep brainstorming, thank you.
If we can do it, I love online forms. First 4 questions, why are you leaving? Last 1, submit request.
Yeah.
That would be great, if we can do it.
And I do have a Google form that's mostly like that.
Yeah.
And I also give them a chance to vent. And a lot of times it's useful to get that perspective.
All right, thank you very much. And we can move on to the elementary school report.
I gave you guys a pretty good amount of information on the board report. We're trying to get organized for the remainder of the school year. I think I attached important dates. We have a whole bunch of stuff that's already mapped out. Our teachers have worked really hard on that, and we've worked as a team to just try to make sure everything's strategically placed and that we've not missed anything. We think it's important to get that stuff out there early for parents so they can make adjustments. They also know that it's subject to change. You know, if we go over 10 NTI days, it could change the calendar, and those things could change. We're just rolling into the second semester. Felt like the first semester went well. It took us a little while to get back with some consistency with some of our students, with just the daily routines. I mean, that's a biggie in elementary. Trying to balance that academic approach with really trying to be rigorous with those students, but also a balance of having some fun and enjoying their experience here at school. Like tomorrow, we were supposed to have our Treasure Day, which is the reward for the second grading period. They were really excited about that, but we've already made adjustments to have that next Friday. One of the biggies is we're always doing different challenges. We try to do something every month. And a lot of times, Mr. Dollins or I ends up receiving some kind of a, I don't want to say punishment, but something that the kids enjoy that they want to work toward. We have such great relationships with our kids. They just love it, and we like to have fun with them. So the new one for January is Cheese the Cheese. Cheese being the administration and the elementary side, and those students that have been nominated by their teachers for being respectful have an opportunity to actually cheese like the administration on January 30th. So that's something interesting that's coming. One of our elementary teachers brought that to me, and I said, this is what we're going to do. So that is what it is. Other than that, I mean, I think that we're just mapping out the rest of the school year and trying to make the best out of each day that we have. And Dr. Neves mentioned this earlier. I know Dr. Birdside, you had asked about the kindergarten situations. We've worked very diligently on trying to make sure those students that maybe have behavioral problems or extra needs in the kindergarten classes, that we're very promptly going through the process to make sure they get the correct supports that they need. And we've done a really good job, and big props to our special education department and Jennifer Witt, trying to make sure that we pace those quickly to make sure these students receive the services that they need. Any other questions?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks a bunch, appreciate it.
Probably do it right there if you want. I'm shocked.
Good evening. I'm going to begin with the recognition tonight. I have asked Mr. Bingham to come and join us. This is the first time he has been recognized. He is our athletic director, and he is extremely busy working behind the scenes and in the front. As you know, we have lots of ball games going for middle and high school right now. I want to tell you a little bit about him real quickly. He is a proud Berea graduate, class of 1991. Also graduated from Berea College in 1995 and then received his master's degree in 2003. He has 29 years of teaching here at Berea Community Schools. Mr. Bingham has always been very professional. He has always been on board with the vision. And again, he's always working behind the scenes, whether it's from scheduling all of these ball games to dealing with issues. And I can say this with fidelity, he wards off all of the issues that we have. It's very seldom that I have to deal with any kind of major athletic issue. So, Mr. Bingham, we really appreciate you for that. He's 14 years high school basketball, 14 years high school girls soccer, 6 years boys basketball, and 3 years high school boys soccer, 3 years archery coach, 12 years assistant AD. And he's completing his 10th year as middle school, high school athletic director here. So just want to say thank you for everything you've done to help us out this year. Athletics is such a huge part of middle school. As you know, usually when I stand up here, I talk about academics all the time, but athletics are so important for our students, just to build their confidence and to build teamwork and so that they're able to work together and just feel good about themselves. And, you know, just I think it's a really big self-esteem builder as well. I'm just going to tell you a couple of highlights that we have for January. This weekend, we hope you will join us. On Saturday morning, I will be there. It is our academic team meet. District quick recall, so we'll have several teams here, and I'll be moderating on Saturday. And then we also have our state qualifier archery tournament this weekend, so we have a lot of things going on. This morning, we met with our juniors. As you know, we gave them the mock SAT. We're still focused on getting our juniors ready for the SAT. This is the first time that they're taking it in Kentucky this year. And so we gathered in the theater. We gave them their mock SAT results. We talked through those, looked at what those benchmarks are for Kentucky, and just gave them tons of encouragement. I will tell you, we have an excellent group of juniors this year, and they proved that on the test last year. We are having upcoming next week our senior trip parent meeting, and I've shared most of these things with you, so I'm not going to go through them. But we are having another SAT prep next week. It's through Torch Prep, so it's a mastery prep through that program, and Garrett paid for that, so it was already paid for this year. So we're going to split those juniors into an AM group and a PM group, and we're just going to focus heavily on SAT prep. We have a lot of things coming up in the spring, so I have shared that important dates document with you. It's a living document, and we continue to add to that. So if you have any questions regarding that, just reach out. So thank you. Any other questions? All right, thanks.
All right, thank you very much.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
I just
Sure.
want to say I appreciate our administrative team and our board and Dr. Means. I do appreciate all of you guys and the opportunity I get to continue to do this day by day. So thank you. And I got 2 sick kids and a wife at home, so I Thank you guys.
Thank you, Jerry. Oh, and also, Mr. Nevels is going to be doing some subbing for us. He's going to be helping us really to get our attendance up, and with some home visits, and also with getting our students pre-scheduled in Infinite Campus so that our students can have schedules when they go home. Also helping to build the master schedule and just picking up any slack that we need. So we're happy to have him. He's a retired administrator. And anything else we need?
That's it.
All right, thank you.
Oh, your school lunches are amazing. And I'm serious.
Thank you. Okay.
What's one of your favorite school lunch meals?
Today, the chicken strips were out of this world. Where I used to work, they baked everything, and it was the saddest thing in the world. I would have preferred to eat wooden planks with bread.
Agreed. We do have space this evening for audience comments. Is there anyone who would like to address the folks in the room? Seeing no takers, we will move on to the adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We have a few items for consent. Minutes are standard financial reports, an offer of assistance from the School Facilities Construction Commission, which would approve the SFCC offer of assistance. Long sentence there. This offer, in compliance with House Bill 6, includes an annual debt service amount of $8,642. The funds are designated for construction or a major renovation project, as outlined in the district's most recently approved facilities plan. I just had one question about it. Do we have plans for what this money would be used for?
So that money has to be used on any of the unmet needs that are in those first priority areas as outlined in your district facilities plan, but it don't have to be used. It's something that just goes into that SFCC portion of your budget. So it just builds year over year and increases our bonding potential. And so there's really no harm in just continuing to let it sit. But once we eventually use it, it has to be items that are in those priority areas in the unmet needs of our DFP.
Okay, so the group that we convened probably 2 meetings ago would
Yes.
have to come back together and make a decision about spending those funds if that were appropriate.
Correct.
That is what I need clarification on. Any questions about any of the other items? Motion. I'll second it. All those in favor? Aye. And let's go on then to the items for board consideration. We have a draft budget for this year, and if I understood correctly, is this actually an approval item, or?
This is the approving that we.
Okay. Questions, further follow-ups on the draft budget, or are we ready to indicate that we approve that we have reviewed? Do I have a motion? I second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? All right. Comprehensive District Improvement Plan was provided. This takes us back to identifying those priority needs and resources and actionable strategies to address these needs in alignment with the district's goals for student growth and achievement. So obviously, very important stuff, and I assume based on some of the information that we received at the previous meeting about where we stand in terms of various skill sets that we're trying to impart to students. Are there any questions from board members about the plan as it was presented?
No questions. I thought we got a nice overview of the plans at the last meeting.
I'm not sure this is actually a question. I support the plan. It looks really interesting to me. One of the things I'd like to see at some point on this were some trend lines, similar to what we got for the budget tonight. Probably going back a couple of years. We had some baseline numbers in that plan that explained where we were in the previous year. Is that good relative to 2 years ago, 3 years ago? And then if I believe it was a 5-year plan, what are our targets for the upcoming years? You're not going to make the entire jump at once. I'd love to see some of that information shared so that we have a better understanding of how the plan moves us through strategies over time. But the plan itself seems to make sense to me as well. Do I have a motion to approve the plan?
I move. Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Great. And we now need a first reading of the district calendar.
I'm happy to answer any questions you all might have.
You know, I was talking with Sarah earlier that there's not a lot of leeway. Like, there's certain things we have to do. The start date and the end dates are pretty much the big ones. And then when we decide we're gonna have PDs and things like that. Other than that, we're pretty well locked in on what we're gonna have. And even more so, where we try to match Madison County's calendar as much as we can, it makes us even more locked in. And while I'm not one who's always like trying to figure out what they're doing, I also noticed that when Madison County doesn't have school, we tend to have a dip in attendance. So it's really easy for us to just follow them and not have a lot of to worry about with that attendance. Mr. Pointer and I were talking about that earlier, and he said a lot of our families don't realize that Berea is not part of the Madison County system, so when Madison County's out, they think we're out. Not a lot, but a few, so that's some more information that needs to get out there. But anyway, as far as this calendar, you know, it's pretty straightforward what we need to do, how many days. One thing that's a little different than we've done in previous years is we've put 172 days on the calendar, so we can build in, you know, traditional snow days if we want to use those instead of NTI.
Like that suggestion.
Yeah, you have that northerner over there to thank for that one.
There you go. Yep, you're good.
Okay, I like building in the extra days.
So we don't have to rely on NTI designation. And this is from a southern, Kentucky's as far north as I ever want to live.
Motion to approve the first reading of the district calendar.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. And now I believe we need to go into executive session to discuss the appointment of an additional board member. Motion to go into executive session.
I so moved.
I think.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we will be right back. resume regular session.
So moved.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Great. Board member appointment, I make a motion to appoint Jenny Hobson to serve as a board member until the election in November of 2026. Oh, I thought she had to serve longer than that. Do I have a motion to approve that?
I so moved.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Board member comments this evening. Sounds great.
I appreciate the good news on the budget front. I appreciate the good recognition of the role of athletics with academics. It's always a nice plus, really nice when we're looking at the whole person and not just.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Great.
Do we have? Second.
I mean, we can hang out for a little bit. We can discuss. I will second the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for the.